Hello, and welcome back to My Spoonie Sisters, where we bring you inspiring stories from those navigating life with chronic illnesses. Today, we have an incredible guest who has faced an extraordinary medical journey. Her story began in college. What she thought was a simple injury evolved into a decade of resilience and determination. With 49 surgeries, 29 of them just on her hips, and a diagnosis of Ehlers-Danlos Syndrome, she fought through unimaginable challenges. Not only has she overcome these obstacles, but she's also giving back to the community through her work with Miles for Hips, her role as an adaptive athlete, and her advocacy efforts. Please welcome Ashley Spalla. Hello, welcome to the pod.
Hey, thank you guys. Thanks, Jen. Thanks, Sandy. I'm so excited to be here.
Thank you for joining us today. It's myself, Andy, and Ashley. We're going to have a wonderful conversation. We did, like Andy says sometimes, the stuffy bio. Do you mind telling us your story with what you thought was a pulled muscle during your ROTC basketball game? And can you take us back to that moment, how it felt when you learned it was much more serious than that?
Yes. I was playing basketball for ROTC in college. I actually thought I had pulled a muscle. When I came back from the game, I went to my local sports doc and was like, hey, I think I pulled a muscle, maybe tore some cartilage. Thinking in my head, maybe this is like a scope surgery. I'll be out for a few weeks. I should be back in the swing of things in a couple months, big deal. He's like, let's get an MRI. Okay, that sounds good. Let's be thorough. The next morning, he calls me at 8 a.m. and I'm like, this is not good. And he goes, you have hip dysplasia. And I'm like a German shepherd. And he's like, you said it. I didn't. I'm like, oh my gosh, like a German shepherd. And he's like, I have to send you to a surgeon. Oh, so this isn't just like torn cartilage. And he's like, oh, you have that too, but you also have hip dysplasia. I'm like, oh, so this is a big deal. And he's like, yes. And so I'm like, okay. Then I get to the first surgeon, and the first surgeon's like, I don't deal with this. Not many surgeons deal with this. I'm going to have to send you to another surgeon. So then I was like, shit,
This is huge.
this is big. The surgeon can't deal with this. I'm going to have to go to another surgeon. And at this point, I was very green into the surgery medical game. I'd had maybe 2 surgeries at that point, and they were outpatient sports surgeries at a clinic, like nothing like in a big hospital, nothing with staying overnight, nothing like that. But I was totally unprepared, not aware of like how I should advocate for myself, or if I should have a second opinion, none of that. When this trusted doctor, at a clinic I'd gone to for years, sent me to another clinic, I thought, oh, okay, well, this is probably the doctor I should be at. Lo and behold, he did not do the surgery correctly. He was not trained correctly. It set off a decade long of surgeries and issues. It led me out to Boston Children's Hospital and to a myriad of other surgeries, including a femoral osteotomy, which is where they break and rotate your femur. And then other hip surgeries and scopes, other major reconstructions being done to try to like alleviate what was done previously. I ended up having a hip replacement done at the age of 29, which was only 8 years after the original surgery. Because at that point, we had done everything and then some. I happened to be, life likes to smack you in the face after you've already been dealt with enough stuff. I ended up being 0.01% of the population. This doctor likes to tell me I got reoccurring infections in my hip replacement that cost me my hip. So I lost not only the hip replacement, but my hip entirely, my right entire hip. For about 7.5 years. I had it reconstructed in Chicago in the fall of 2023. Even then, it's still about 40 to 60% of what it could be. It's very painful. I still have issues to this day. It's not a typical total hip. When I say total hip replacement, it's not what everyone thinks of when I say total hip replacement. When when you like look up a total hip replacement, it doesn't look like one on an x-ray. Like it's very like, I'd have to say, medieval. It's got like a cage on it, like just like it's got a lot of extra metal because I had a lot of my pelvis missing from the infections. The infections caused me to be on vancomycin so long that it caused severe kidney damage and kidney failure. And so I have stage 2 kidney disease from that. So a lot of pain and suffering from an initial surgery that shouldn't have happened that way. Now that it's kind of in a stable place, as much as it can be, I work with others to promote awareness and education on what should be the proper way to go about surgeries, get second opinions, what questions you should ask. Here's the proper information. Here's education on what is hip dysplasia, what is femoral osteotomies, what is avascular necrosis or other hip disorders. And then as well as then I do my off time adaptive sports. I've done everything from wheelchair basketball to racing with Challenge Athletes Foundation, which my favorite thing is winter season, which I know people think I'm crazy because I love winter. And I love the snow. So I go out skiing, adaptive skiing. That is my fun thing to do. So I'll be doing that in the next week or so. I'll be flying out to Colorado to go adaptive skiing again.
That actually sounds incredible.
Thank you.
But I'm also going back to some of what you said too. And I images, right? I've got all these images going in my head of what this looks like. I'm almost picturing this cage. When you said medieval, I'm picturing like chicken coop material for some reason. Don't ask me why, but that's where my brain went, was like a chicken coop hip. I mean, it sounds like this torture that you've been through.
It kind of looks like it kind of goes around the hip. It cages it kind of like around the hip to hold the hip in. It's like a wire system. So it kind of is a little bit, if that it makes it sound like I could make it visualize what it is.
From there, you had to have more and more and more. Sounds like there's not much of a hip there to even work with. So how do they go around building that up?
They do what's like called a triflange, and it is like a metal like prosthetic of your socket. Then they put in the femur, the femoral head, and then off the femoral head, the like goes down into your femur all the way down. The rod goes all the way down. And because I had about this much missing of my femur, about 4 inches, they had to make up for that with metal. So I have a very long metal rod almost down to my knee, which hurts, especially when it gets cold, or especially when the weather changes. It's not even so much when it gets cold, it's when the weather changes very quickly. And if you're in the Midwest or in different areas and it changes in like 5 minutes, like it just is what it is. You just deal with it. But it's a giant implant because they have to make up for all the pieces that you lost. And unfortunate, the irony of the situation is with infections, the more metal you have, the more at risk you are for more infections. But the fact is they have to put more metal in because you lost because of the infections. So it's like a circular situation of crap.
Wow. Okay. Now from here, do they think you're going to be kind of status quo for a while? Do they have a game plan for the future?
Well, I'm pretty stable right now. So it's kind of status quo for right now. I don't think unless science changes and moves forward with an implant that I think I would want to go through anything else. So I'm pretty stable right now. I don't have any active infections that I have to worry about, knock on wood, that I would just like to keep it like you said, status quo.
Hey, listeners, are you living with a chronic illness and want to make your voice heard? Rare Patient Voice connects patients and caregivers with research opportunities so you can share your experiences and get paid for your time. Your insights help drive real change in healthcare. So sign up today using the link in our show notes and start making an impact.
So, Ashley, I have some questions. You mentioned Midwest. Are you currently still in the Midwest? I'm from the Midwest. I'm from the Chicagoland area.
Very nice.
That cold
Love it.
is different. So when you said you like winters, Midwest winters and bodies, you're just built for it, and you have to buy your winter stuff from there because it's just a different kind of cold.
Yeah, for sure.
So with all of these hip surgeries that you've had, can you share maybe some of your emotional challenges that you faced during the journey of your physical recovery?
I think for me, the biggest challenge was dealing with the depression that came along with all of the surgeries.
Yeah.
I would go through like surgery and I would get through the hardest part, and that would be like the physical part of the surgery and the initial phase. But then in the lull of the recovery and the longer part of the recovery is when you kind of get the recovery blues. It was coping with all the constant circular, I would heal, get better, start over, heal, recover, get better, start over. It was the constant having to pick myself up and start over and do that constantly for years. And in some years, I would have 4 or 5 surgeries or more. It was just relentless. Having to learn how to cope with that was very, very difficult. And for many years, I didn't know how to properly cope with that. And so it was some with medication, with the help of medication. In recent years, in the last, I'd say 5 years, I've done a lot of counseling therapy sessions.
Mm-hmm.
And that has been a huge change for me. And that has been opening doors for how I deal with life in general, from medical trauma, past traumas to current situations. That has been a huge change.
So there is also another component that plays a significant role in how you recover and can cause some complications. So how did the diagnosis of EDS impact your understanding of how you heal?
EDS, learning about EDS at the beginning, when I went out to Boston Children's at the very beginning, put puzzle pieces together. That surgeon, his name was Dr. Michael Millis. And he put puzzle pieces together, and it made sense that certain things didn't work. It also made sense that certain things would work better in the future. He was able to help not only get me on the right track, but moving forward and get me to the right doctors genetically. Also, with surgeries, I don't deal with local anesthetic very well. So it was doing better anesthesia for me, or better pain management. And then for wound care, because I have classical EDS, so it affects my skin and wound care a lot more than it does for a hypermobile patient. Then we would learn how to close our sutures differently. That made a huge difference in wound closures and infection rates for me. That just made a huge difference altogether. Learning about the diagnosis was difficult, but it was also a blessing in disguise, because we learned what we were doing wrong to do what was better for the future.
How do you stay motivated through all of the rough times?
I would say it's the people around me. It's my support system. It's my friends. It's my family. For the longest time, up until about this past Christmas, I had a dog for 15 and a half years. She was my ride or die buddy through the whole thing. She was my fuzz nurse. And so she was the best friend I had. But it was everything like that. It was everything from my dog, my parents, to my friends, to my support friends online, FaceTiming in the hospital to check on me. And it was everything like that. I would have to say it was definitely my support system.
Love that little verbiage you threw in there, your fuzz nurse. I feel like this needs to be a meme, a quote, a sticker. I don't know, but it needs to be something. I love that.
For a nurse. Yeah, fuzz nurse.
Love it. It's so cute. Now, you've had to navigate the complexity of being a patient and an advocate. What has your experience been like with the doctors, and how did you find the right specialists who truly understood your condition?
I feel like trial by fire, truly trial by fire for some of them. like pain management has been trial by fire. Orthopedics, I've kind of learned through my own problems how to red flag situations. I would figure out that was not a doctor, or that's not, I would look at their like CV and be like, okay, that's a doctor that could possibly take my case. And then I would like talk with them or talk with their staff and bring up or email them. And once I got more into the advocating part of this side of the field, I got to talk to a lot of them personally, and then could also talk to them professionally, personally, and then could work with them on both sides of the fence. So that was very helpful.
That's great. I think that goes to show that for those listening, do your homework. You don't have to go to the first person you find or the first person that insurance covers. Keep digging, keep looking, talk to the staff. It's worth it. I've actually been doing the same thing since we moved over here to the other side of my state. I've been afraid to switch rheumatologists, but I've been working with the Arthritis Foundation over here, and I've actually gotten to meet some of the rheumatologists. And now I'm kind of geeking out going, okay, I like this one. I like this one. I like this one. They have great stuff. Okay, now I got to find out if they take my insurance, because I'm tired of driving 4 hours. And these people are actually quite amazing and very knowledgeable.
Yeah, societies and foundations like that, like the Ehlers-Danlos Society, is a great resource. Like Miles for Hips, we don't endorse any one surgeon, but like we will help locate surgeons in different regions for people to recommend. If they request help finding a surgeon, we will help find a like fellowship trained surgeon in that region. Same for like the PAO group. I will really try my best. I will even PM, like private message someone and really try to link in someone to a surgeon if I know the region they're in, or I'm familiar with that doctor or specialist, or if they're having a problem, I will go work head over heels to try to help someone get in with the right physician, because I know how much that makes a difference.
It sure does. I think that's a fantastic resource to be able to have for people. And then that's exciting that you're working on part of that. So as a board member for Miles for Hips, and you also co-admin of the I'm not even trying to say it. I'm a breaker.
Acetabular osteotomy.
Yeah, that thing. As a co-admin for the group, you're now helping others. How has giving back to the hip dysplasia community influenced your journey?
I think it's made me more grateful for everything that I've gone through. People have asked me if I've regretted what I've gone through, and I will tell them no, because then I wouldn't have met some of my friends some of my best friends the way I have, and that I wouldn't have been able to do these things. I really think that I'm meant to do these things for other people. I feel like it's a way of paying it forward and moving it forward. I would love to help advance this like patient-doctor relationship advocacy type of relationship forward in this field, not only in this field, but in so many others. But this is the one that has my heart at the moment. So it's the one I'm working on.
Ashley, it's just a slight pause. I am so glad that Jen asked you the question that she just asked you, because when I was reading it, I said to myself, I am going to stumble across how to pronounce this. And I'm a whole nurse. I looked at it and I was like, man, this is really about to test me and whether or not I still remember how to pronounce things. And so, guys, when you listen to the playback, I need you to give Gracefully Jen some grace, because I'm looking at the words myself and I had to ask. No, Jen, you can go ahead and take it. We're over here struggling sometimes, guys. So, Ashley, I want to talk about adaptive sports, because sports is my jam. It has my heart in all capacities. Your decision to use a wheelchair, although may be tough, but you turned it into an empowering experience for you. Can you share a little bit about what that transition was like for you from what you did know into adaptive sports, so that you can know it from a different angle?
I knew a lot about wheelchairs from a couple friends, and I didn't know a lot about adaptive sports. I actually joined a adaptive foundation local to Indianapolis that did adaptive sports. I would do a clinic here or there. I first started with a basketball clinic, and then I joined the basketball team. Then I was asked if I'd like to try like a ski trip. And I never thought I would enjoy something as much as I did running. I thought I lost my passion forever once I got in a wheelchair. We went out and we tried adaptive skiing for the first time 5 years ago, or 5.5 years ago. And we were out in Crested Butte, Colorado. I went down the mountain for the first time with the instructor, and I was like, oh, buddy, this is it. Like, I found my shit. This is like my jam. I like sliding on snow is the best thing ever. I can do this over and over again, and I'm hooked. And I was hooked from that moment on. And so like every year I gain more and more gear in my room. My parents are like lots of gear is garnered every year for skiing adventures. But it makes me feel so free. I think that's what adaptive sports does. It just makes you feel so level with everybody else. It puts you on the same level of everybody else. It makes you feel free and open. Everyone out there just loves it. Everyone's smiling. It's not even their job. It's just a fun thing to do. Yeah. And they're just like, I mean, adaptive sports really does open up so much for people.
It does. I love how you glow when you talk about going down a mountain. It's like the adrenaline junkie in you just started beaming. When you said, that's found my jam. Your transition to adaptive sports led to some athlete sponsorship. Challenge Athlete Foundation. What is that like? Can you tell us a little bit more about the Challenged Athlete Foundation?
The Challenge Athlete Foundation is a great foundation. I got my first racing chair from them via the grant from the Challenge Athlete Foundation. They do different sponsorships and grants for athletes, whether it be grants for equipment or camp or adaptive athletes, because unfortunately for us, insurance does not pay for sports chairs, and sports chairs are very expensive, just like wheelchairs are very expensive, just like everything else in medicine is very expensive. They offer different grants at different age groups and age levels, and different offerings at camps at different like intervals for so many years, like types of sponsorships, depending on what you're going for, whether it be a trip or a camp, or there's different types of things. And then you can apply, and then they every spring give out the award notices and let you know if you've been selected. I was selected under their veteran military section under Challenge Athlete Foundation. I was just absolutely stoked. It's a great program. It wouldn't have been possible to get my chair otherwise. It's a beautiful chair. I've loved it for racing, and it's something that I think as I move on to my next racing chair, I'll pass that chair on to someone else and let them experience racing chairs. So that'll be a nice experience for them.
So you shared a quote from C.S. Lewis, and I love the quote. Hardships often prepare ordinary people for extraordinary destinies. Why that quote? What about that is like, this is Ashley is speaking directly to me?
C.S. Lewis is a favorite author of mine. Like, he can make me tear up, like almost like on spot. But that quote for me is like my life in a quote. I feel like, oh my gosh, like everything about life has been hard, but that doesn't mean your life and the cards you play and the hand you play cannot be extraordinary. So I feel like even though I've had a lot of hardships, doesn't mean that my destiny is any less than anybody else's.
Your story, your journey, your strength, all of the above, spending this time with you has been amazing. Getting to know you has been amazing. And your journey is truly inspiring. I can't wait for our listeners to hear just you and to experience you and all that you have to share. Where can they follow you? Where can they connect?
You can follow just me on my Instagram at Ashley Spalla, but you can also get on Miles for Hips and support our Miles for Hips. I'm our information and resource chair, and I'm always doing different activities with their nonprofit. I'm always available that way, or friend me on Facebook. Same thing, Ashley Spalla. I'm always looking to message or have new friends. So I'm on Instagram a lot. So Messenger is always a great one.
Before we close, I want to do something kind of fun with you, and I think you're going to be up for this. Are you ready?
Ready.
Unusual choices. If you could be any animal, what would you be?
Ooh, a wolf.
Ooh, why would you choose that?
They can be anything from lone hunters to wolf pack.
Ooh.
So I like that about them. They can be like, they're adaptable and they're beautiful.
That suits you.
I love that. I love that. I love it.
Oh, guilty pleasures. What is your favorite guilty pleasure TV show?
Man, let's see. Big Bang Theory is my TV show, and movies are Harry Potter for sure. My mom gets tired of them playing on. They're like my comfort. It's like my comfort movie from like my kid show. Like, so anytime there's like a surgery or a recovery or hospital stay, which is a lot. So, Harry Potter's on. So for sure.
Okay, let's do this one. Celebrity crushes. Which celebrity would you want as your best friend?
Chris Hemsworth, Thor.
Hands down, yes.
The Hammer, like hands down, Thor all the way.
Mm.
And he seems hysterical too. Like he seems like he would be hilarious.
I want to make sure of somebody that's delicious and funny.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, Andy, I want to ask you the same question.
Okay, what question? Go.
Which celebrity would you want as your best friend?
Hands down, Samuel L. Jackson.
Which one?
He'll give it to me real. Like he will not hold any punches. He'll be like, here's the raw. Do it. Like, what are we doing? Get it together. Also, he's funny, right? So if you could just imagine him walking around narrating my life, that would be so amazing. That would be the dopest day of my life if he just walked around and narrated my life. He could be my anger translator. He could be my peace negotiator. He could be all kinds of things.
Ooh, that should be the question. We should ask everyone who they want to narrate their life.
Yes.
Yep. Samuel L. Jackson for a day,
like
hands down.
Either Morgan Freeman or Liam Neeson, because their voices are amazing.
I would say Morgan Freeman, but he would put people to calm. What if I'm angry?
Yes, that's
I need
true.
the emotion. I need the emotion. I need the emotion of how I'm feeling, especially at doctor's appointments. Can you imagine that? Samuel L. Jackson is your bestie and advocate at a doctor's appointment.
So you have Morgan Freeman when you're happy and things are calm, and then you switch it up when you're not.
Correct. Yeah. Have Samuel L. Jackson when it's
hands down. Both of mine, I think, are delicious. That's my word of the day. Delicious. But they're funny too. And you probably won't be surprised because I feel like I've told you these before. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Yes. Those arms. Yes. That's my first one. And Kevin Hart.
It's because Kevin Hart. Jenny's a 40-year-old black man, and she dresses like barbecue dad, and it's okay though. It's okay. She loves it, and I love her.
I did.
So good.
I let Andy in on my family inside joke about that, about how I was like, I wish I was Kevin Hart. Yeah.
It's so good.
I think it's because I like people that are so different than me. I think that's what it is, because he's hilarious. I find him hilarious. I understand his humor, but I am not great at putting out my own humor, if that makes sense.
She's not good at relaying the joke. She can understand the joke, but she can't create or narrate said joke. So by the time it leaves out of Jenny's mouth, it's not as funny. And so she said, I wish I was
think I'm hilarious. I'm just not hilarious. I just think I'm hilarious. Like, I'm hilarious in my own mind.
I was going to say the same thing. I think hilarious things all day long. Can I communicate them? No.
Exactly.
And all the time, I'm speaking with Andy and I stick my foot in my mouth all the time. I say all the weird things. Like, what did I say to you the other day? Something about, I'll do you and then I'll do this? Or I don't know.
First I'll do the church and then I'll do you later. And I was like, nope, and nope. If we could just pause for a second and reword that. No, ma'am.
Yeah. Do my work at the church and do a recording with you. Yes.
Yes.
Makes more sense.
The complete thought. The complete thought matters.
Not
like
the
grammar
habits.
and punctuation. The complete thought matters because too much was left out in context. Okay.
It was such a pleasure getting to know you more, Ashley.
Thank you, guys.
And listeners, go talk to her. She's super fun.
Yes,
She's bubbly.
please.
She's sweet. Reach out to her. She'll talk back to you in a good way.
Yes, please. Yes, hopefully.
All right. Until next time, don't forget your spoon. All guests featured or mentioned in this podcast will be listed for your convenience. Don't forget to rate and subscribe to My Spoonie Sisters and follow My Spoonie Sisters on Instagram for updates on new episodes and more. We eagerly look forward to speaking and hearing from all our Spoonies. Disclaimer: while we are not doctors or healthcare practitioners, we want to assure you that this podcast is a credible source of information. It's based on our guests' personal experiences and the strategies we've found effective for ourselves. However, everyone's body is unique, and what works for one person may not work for another. If you have any health-related questions, it's always best to consult your primary doctor or rheumatologist. Remember, our goal at My Spoonie Sisters is to connect people and provide them with the support and tools they need to live better lives.